no matter what arises. Even attention itself, any thought, anything at all, no matter what arises. You're merely the witness. You're not doing it. You're not doing anything whatsoever. You're not making anything happen. Nothing's happening to you. It's always already the case that you are just that. Now, why don't you get that tacit understanding and nothing more? Even though I've made it perfectly plain to you. Narcissus. Well, as long as there is the presumption of point of view, as long as there is the self-contraction, practices are required. Process is required. Thinking occurs and you think you're doing it. Actions occur and you think you're doing them. Reactions occur and you think they're yours. For you, the mirror is covered with dust. And you must clean it. And you will never succeed. Because you're making an error and your presumption is a metaphor for your error. So you could say the mirror is dusty, and therefore you must clean it to see clearly. But that presumption is not true. It's a representation of your dilemma, of your error. You can't stop committing that error, even when it's pointed out to you that you are doing it. Even when I say to you, remind you plainly, no matter what arises now, even now, apparent now, you are merely the witness, neither causing nor experiencing, not separate. Always already established as the divine self-condition itself. Well, you know very well that's not true. And that's the metaphor for your error, that knowledge. Is false. But you can't be convinced otherwise because it's true. That's why it's impossible to solve this problem. It's impossible to get on the other side of the water. It's like the motorist who drove up to a man and was in a neighborhood. He was mowing his lawn, and he asked him, called him over to his car, and he asked him for directions to a particular location. And he thought about it for a while, and he said, "You can't get there from here." That doesn't mean there is no process of realization. There is one. There are ways to seek realization, but there is an actual process of realization. The way I have revealed to you is a process of realization, not a method or a technique for seeking it. You can change it, you can transform it, revise it, into a search or an activity. Of the separate ego. But that's simply to falsify the teaching. It's to misunderstand the practice or refuse it. The precise way I have given you is the way of realization. And it is exactly and entirely from the beginning the way that does not seek realization. When you find the true water, you give yourself up. Imagine rubbing the surface of a pond with your fingertip until it is crystal clear. What do you do in that sudden instant? You're bent over the pond, rubbing it with your fingertip, and I grab you by the foot, yank you down. What will you do in that moment? It's the crucial choice. You never know when it's going to come.